Have you ever sat down to work only to find yourself scrolling through social media an hour later? We all struggle with focus. But what if you could become truly indistractable? Welcome to the Book Summaries channel. Today we are breaking down Indistractable by Nir Eyal, a definitive guide to reclaiming your attention and living the life you intend. To understand distraction, we must first understand its opposite, which Nir Eyal calls traction. Traction is any action that moves us toward what we want in life, while distraction is anything that moves us away. Most people believe distraction is caused by external devices, but Eyal argues that the root cause is actually internal. Distraction is often an unhealthy escape from uncomfortable internal triggers like boredom, loneliness, or anxiety. If we don't learn to deal with the discomfort that drives us to check our phones, we will always find a way to get distracted. We must view our impulses not as something to be suppressed, but as something to be managed through awareness. The goal is to reimagine the internal trigger and the task itself. Instead of seeing a boring task as something to avoid, we can look for the play or challenge within it. By recognizing that we are in control of our reactions to discomfort, we take the first step toward focus. Mastering internal triggers allows us to choose our actions rather than reacting to our feelings. You cannot claim you are distracted unless you know what you were distracted from. This chapter introduces the concept of time boxing, which involves planning every minute of your day based on your values. Most people use to-do lists, but Eyal argues they are ineffective because they lack a time constraint. By scheduling our values instead of our tasks, we ensure we give time to the three main domains of life: self, relationships, and work. When we don't have a plan for our time, everything is a distraction. The author suggests creating a weekly calendar template that reflects how you want to spend your 168 hours. This includes scheduling time for sleep, exercise, and deep work, as well as time for family and friends. It is not about how much you get done, but about doing what you said you would do. If we don't plan our day, someone else, like our boss or social media apps, will plan it for us. By making time for traction, we provide our brains with a clear path to follow throughout the day. External triggers are the pings, dings, and rings that pull us away from our planned tasks. While internal triggers drive the urge, external triggers often facilitate the action. Eyal suggests a rigorous process of hacking back the technology and environments that trigger us. This begins with our smartphones, where we should remove apps that don't serve us and turn off all non-essential notifications. Our computers are also major sources of distraction, and we must learn to clean up our desktops and use focus tools to block distracting websites. The chapter also discusses the office environment, suggesting physical signals like focus signs to tell colleagues not to interrupt. We often blame the tools, but Eyal shows that we have the power to customize our devices to serve us rather than vice versa. Meetings are another major external trigger that should be minimized or structured to require a clear agenda. Even our email can be hacked back by checking it at scheduled times rather than constantly reacting to new messages. By removing these triggers, we create a sanctuary where focus can flourish. The final layer of defense against distraction is the use of pre-commitments or pacts. A pact is a decision made in the present to prevent an unwanted action in the future. There are three types of pacts: effort pacts, price pacts, and identity pacts. Effort pacts make the distraction harder to do, such as using an app blocker that requires a password. Price pacts involve putting money on the line. For example, if you don't finish a task, you owe a friend $50. Identity pacts are the most powerful, as they involve changing how you see yourself. By calling yourself indistractable, you create a mental rule that makes it easier to resist temptation. Just as a vegetarian doesn't struggle with the decision to eat meat, an indistractable person doesn't struggle with checking their phone during deep work. These pacts act as a safety net for when our internal willpower fails. However, Pacts should only be used after we have managed our internal triggers, scheduled our time, and hacked back external triggers. They are the final seal on our commitment to our goals. Distraction at work is often a symptom of a dysfunctional company culture. Eyal argues that the pressure to be always on leads to burnout and a lack of productivity. To fix this, companies must foster psychological safety, where employees feel comfortable discussing the problem of distraction. Managers must lead by example, showing that they value deep work over immediate responses to Slack or email. When the culture demands constant availability, focus becomes impossible. The chapter provides a framework for how teams can coordinate their schedules to ensure everyone has time for traction. It is not just about individual habits, but about collective agreements on how communication should happen. Organizations that prioritize focus over performative busyness ultimately see better results and happier employees. Fixing the workplace requires a shift from a reactive culture to one of intentionality. By addressing the root causes of workplace distraction, companies can unlock the full potential of their teams. Focus is a competitive advantage in the modern economy. Parents often worry about their children's screen time, but Eyal offers a different perspective. He suggests that children turn to digital distractions when their basic psychological needs for autonomy, competence, and relatedness are not being met in the real world. Instead of simply banning devices, parents should involve children in setting their own limits. This teaches children the critical skill of self-regulation. Parents must explain the why behind the rules and help children recognize their own internal triggers for wanting to use screens. By giving children a sense of agency, we empower them to become indistractable on their own terms. The chapter also emphasizes that parents must model the behavior they want to see. If a parent is always on their phone, the child will follow suit. We should move away from being monitor parents to being mentor parents who guide children through the digital landscape. Raising indistractable kids is about equipping them with the tools to manage their attention in a world designed to steal it. It is one of the most important lessons a child can learn in the 21st century. Distraction can be toxic to our personal relationships, particularly the phenomenon of phubbing or phone snubbing. When we check our phones while someone is talking to us, we send a message that the device is more important than the person. Eyal encourages us to create distraction-free zones during social interactions, such as meals or date nights. We should agree with our partners and friends on when it is appropriate to use technology. This requires being present and respecting the time we have scheduled for relatedness. Often, we use our phones to avoid the vulnerability of real-world connection. By being intentional about our presence, we deepen our bonds and show our loved ones that they are a priority. It is not about never using technology, but about using it in a way that doesn't interfere with our values. Building indistractable relationships means protecting the time we spend with those who matter most. In the end, our attention is the greatest gift we can give to another person.